today we said we're talking about drug addiction in the family, something which is very serious and something which is a very sensitive topic. Allow me to say good morning to, of course, our guest who is actually joining us here in the studio. We're actually very lucky to have with us Dr. Al-Enazi, who is Associate Professor of Social Services at the King Fahd Security College. Assalamu alaikum to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for asking me to come to share
Thank you. It's our pleasure. Now, sir, today we're actually looking at something very serious, very sensitive, drug addiction. And back in the old days, drug addiction was a topic that was never spoke about. It was something that kept, let's say, under wraps. But now, since the problem is such a huge phenomenon around the world, today we're looking at drug addiction in the family. And when one member is addicted to these drugs, it affects the whole family. Can you give us briefly, sir, first of all, let's say, who are the likely victims of these drug addictions and why?
Okay, thank you very much, first of all. Second, I want to talk about this issue, drug addiction, drug and alcohol addiction. It is a serious problem, and if we look at some reports that's mentioned by the United Nations office, it is where the problems and general problems and international problems, it's not problems in our society, or because all countries in the world suffer from this problem. So there's a lot of individuals who's drug or alcohol addict, maybe think that alcohol just affected on themselves, but in truth this is not right.
That's true.
So this children and families and society is affected by individuals when he chooses to use drug or alcohol. So if we look at children, they suffer from, I read some children what they're saying about this problem. One child said that I didn't go to school because all colleagues and friends at schools say that my dad is an addict, so I didn't go to school more. So also there's a lot of problems. There are problems with family. Some family, when they know first time their parents or fathers use drugs or alcohol, try to hide these problems, and this improve these problems as well. So this is, and with time, the society will discover that their father is an addict, and in his case will be too late to help him or to get treatment. So also society, there's suffer from this problem. So if we look at all societies, all countries suffer. If you look at the crimes, because as a result of drug and alcohol addicts, if we look at violence, especially against women and children, there is a huge number of children and wives suffer from the drug and alcohol addicts. So this is serious problems, and we have to work to face these problems and try to help them to solve these problems, because it is, some people look at this as a disease. Some it's not addicted, but some specialists know this is a disease and addicted, and patient disease and addict, drug addiction. So we have to look take this problem seriously and try to find some solution for these problems.
That's very true, and I do agree that when you say that it is a drug addiction, I really think that's also a very true statement. But sir, if you can just stay with us, we're actually going to be joined.
Good morning, KSA, and we are talking today mainly about drug addiction. Now, how it is that we can possibly deal with it, because trying to shut our eyes would not really help solve the problem. We have to deal with this issue, and we have to tackle this problem so that we are going to be having a smaller number of people who are suffering through such kind of addictions in our society, because for the moment, the asset when it comes to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is not only the oil and mineral resources, but actually it is the youth of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, where we have such a majority of people who are below the age of 30. We need to be very, very cautious at this particular point in time so that we are not going to be having the coming generation in which there are going to be a lot of people who have the weaknesses towards drugs. Now, on this note, joining us in the studio is Dr. Eid, and Dr. Eid has been with us for a while now, and we have been talking about the different aspects of addiction. But for the moment, actually, I would turn to Diana, because Diana has something very interesting that she wants to ask and talk to Dr. Eid about. So, I mean, I would let you to go ahead with it, Diana.
Well, that's interesting because off air we were talking about what are some ways that you could tell if a member of your family is abusing substance, is abusing drug or abusing alcohol. Now, that's a very interesting question, Dr. Aid, because I believe not many people know the signs. As Simon mentioned, sometimes people lose weight or they gain weight, or they have problems sleeping, or they have problems performing in school, for example. So what are some of the signs and symptoms that people can look out for?
Yes, thank you for these questions, and it's very important questions. So, especially first, when a person starts to use alcohol or drugs the first time, it's difficult to discover his problems or what's the kind of problem. But we can note that, so can observe some changing in his behaviors or her behaviors. Just as you said, lose his weight or her weight, and start to be lazy and start to be and also cut relationship with his members, his family members, and with friends, and try to just stay in his room alone for a long time, and usually doesn't go to work or school. And if we any family notes this change in his behavior and should be asked what's happened. Usually we are not educated about drug addicts as people in Saudi Arabia, so we need to know. Some people say this is maybe some problems. They don't know anything about drug addicts or drug addictions. So I think we need to focus some programs to educate families how can they know. Usually also, especially if the person in the school usually leave school, and some of them just they start facing problems with educations, and they can't go ahead with the schools. So there's some signs we can note with a person who will start using drug or alcohol.
Right, Dr. Eid, now let me ask you this. How is the family